Hey, what's up everybody? Thank you for joining me on another video today. There was a pretty big announcement, some important data that was released earlier this morning that is affecting the markets and the price of gold and silver and may dictate which way Jerome Powell will go when he decides if he's going to raise interest rates, keep rates unchanged yet again when the FOMC meet. What did the CPI data show that was released this morning? How is the silver and gold markets reacting to that announcement? When is the FOMC meeting? And what might Jerome Powell do when he makes that announcement of his plans for the federal funds interest rate? And when is that announcement? We're going to get to all of that on this video today. Please consider hitting that thumbs up on the video and let me know your thoughts, your opinions in the comment section below. First, I will be referencing an article on CNBC from Jeff Cox. It says Consumer Price Index rose 0.4% in September, more than expected. The Consumer Price Index increased 0.4% on the month and 3.7% from a year ago, above respective forecasts for 0.3% and 3.6%. Core CPI increased 0.3% on the month and 4.1% on a 12-month basis, both exactly in line with expectations. Shelter costs were the main factor for the increased inflation, accounting for more than half of the rise in CPI. Real average hourly earnings fell 0.2% on the month, but were up 0.5% from a year ago. Prices that consumers pay for a wide variety of goods and services increased at a slightly faster than expected pace in September, keeping inflation in the spotlight for policymakers. The Consumer Price Index, a closely followed inflation gauge, increased 0.4% on the month and 3.7% from a year ago, according to a Labor Department report Thursday that compared with the respective Dow Jones estimate of 0.3% and 3.6%. Headline inflation increased 0.6% in August. Excluding volatile food and energy prices, the so-called core CPI increased 0.3% on the month and 4.1% on a 12-month basis, both exactly in line with expectations. Policymakers place more weight on the core numbers as they tend to be better predictors of the long-term trends. Core inflation also increased 0.3% in August when it was up 4.3% from the previous 12 months. In keeping up with recent trends, shelter costs were the main factor in the inflation increase. The index for shelter, which makes up about 1/3 of the CPI weighing, accelerated 0.6% for the month and 7.2% from a year ago on a monthly basis. Shelter accounted for more than half of the rise in the CPI, the Labor Department said. Energy costs rose 1.5%, including a 2.1% pickup in gasoline prices. Speaking of gasoline prices, I just filled up moments ago and I paid $3.60 per gallon for regular. Let me know in the comment section below. I would love to know how much are gas prices in your area. Anyway, so it's saying including a 2.1% pickup in gasoline prices and 8.5% in fuel oil, and food was up 0.2% for the third month in a row. On a 12-month basis, food costs climbed 3.7%, including a 6% increase for food away from home, while energy costs were off 0.5%. Services prices, considered a key for longer run direction for inflation, also posted a 0.6% gain excluding energy services and were up 5.7% on a 12-month basis. Vehicle prices were mixed, with new vehicles up 0.3% and used down 2.5%. Used vehicle prices, a big driver of inflation in early days of the COVID pandemic, were down 8% from a year ago. Among major CPI components, the other main decliners were apparel down 0.8% and medical care commodities down 0.3%. Medical care services increased 0.3% on the month, but were down 2.6% on an annual basis. Markets showed only a modest reaction to the report. Stocks edged higher at the open, while Treasury yields came off of previous lows, with longer duration notes little changed. The CPI increase meant workers' wages fell in real terms. Real average hourly earnings dropped 0.2% on the month, owing to the difference between the inflation rate and the 0.2% gain in nominal earnings. The Labor Department said in a separate report, on a yearly basis, earnings were up 0.5%. Just because the rate of inflation is stable for now doesn't mean its weight isn't increasing every month on a family's budget, said Robert Frick, corporate economist with Navy Federal Credit Union. That shelter and food costs rose particularly is especially painful. And I can very much agree with that. I think most of us are feeling the pain at the pump, feeling the pain at the grocery store. In other economic news Thursday, the Labor Department reported that initial jobless claims totaled 209,000, unchanged from the previous week and just below the 210,000 estimate. CPI report comes with Federal Reserve officials contemplating their next policy move. I'll put a link to that article from CNBC in the description of this video if you would like to read it for yourself. How is the CPI data affecting the gold and silver prices? That's what we're going to discuss now. Silver is currently down 1.13%, or down 25 cents to $21.89. Gold is down a little bit over 0.75%, or down $5.20 to $1,870.10. And if anybody cares, platinum is down a little over 2.25%, or down $20 to $878, and palladium is down 2.60%, or down $30 to $1,164. When is the FOMC going to be meeting, and when is Jerome Powell going to make that announcement on if he's going to make any changes, if the Federal Reserve fund rate is going to go up, or if it's going to stay unchanged? And that is going to be the first day of the two-day meeting will be October the 31st, and the second day of that meeting and the announcement, I do believe right around 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time, will be on November the 1st, 2023. What will Jerome Powell do when he makes that announcement, when he steps up to that podium at about 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time on November the 1st? I have no idea, but according to the CEM Group FedWatch tool, and by the way, I have put links to this in other videos previously, and I will put a link to this in the description of this video as well. This may not be 100% accurate. However, I don't think there's going to be another CPI announcement before Jerome Powell makes that decision and announcement on November the 1st, but the CME Group FedWatch tool is indicating that the possibility of rates staying unchanged is 89.4% and a 10.6% chance of rates going up by 0.25%, or 25 basis points. I do appreciate everybody for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. Let me know in the comment section below, what do you think Jerome Powell will do on November the 1st when he makes that decision, when he walks up to that podium and announces what he will do with the Fed funds interest rates. Thank you all for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, share, and I'll talk to everybody on my next video. Thanks a lot, everyone.